and welcome back to my channel. This is the last video for the Ragatha costume and it is the dress. For the bodice of the dress I used this Simplicity pattern 8444, just the top portion, but it's the one that I created when I made my Alice the Madness Returns steampunk dress. And I cut the front and back piece out of the purple broadcloth. I do use the poofy sleeve piece from that pattern in its original state. And this long rectangle piece will be the waistband of the dress. This skirt will be a simple 3-panel gathered skirt. So here I'm just taking the rest of my fabric and making it the length I need, which was about 30 inches, and I will be ripping that into long rectangles. And I'm going to pin those 3 panels together so I can figure out how big my patches are going to be. And to figure this out, I'm going to go ahead and lay my panels on the floor and use my ruler and decide where I'm going to put these according to my reference image. I will be marking these on the panels itself with some chalk so I know where they need to be placed. And to make said panels, I'm using this darker purple material to measure out all my rectangles for the patches. There is supposed to be a white underskirt to this dress, but I live in Texas and it gets really hot here, especially around Halloween time, and I don't want to be sweating, so I'm just going to make a bottom piece that's going to go on the bottom of the dress. That's a strip of white fabric. I also use the same white material to make the cuffs for the dress and for the collar. To start sewing on the dress, I go ahead and take all those purple rectangles and sew them up, all sides except leaving a small hole in one of the sides so I can flip it. Once they're all sewn, I go ahead and clip the corners, flip them right sides out, and then give them a good press. To attach them to the dress, I'm going to use this Heat and Bond Wonder Under for this. It's basically like a paper backing with glue on it that you just iron on. But once I get the dress completed, or mostly completed, I can go ahead and iron this glue patch on, and it will secure it on there for me, and then I will go ahead and take some black embroidery thread and make these stitches. Speaking of the dress, I'm going to go ahead and take all three of my skirt panels and sew those together. And since I do own a serger, I am serging all the edges so that way that doesn't fray. And for the back of the skirt, I am leaving about a 6 to 8 inch opening at the top so that way I can install a zipper later. Once those panels are sewn together, I go ahead and attach my patches. For the faux underskirt layer, I just go ahead and take all my strips of white fabric and sew the short ends together, and then I will go ahead and serge all those edges, make a hem on it before I attach it to the skirt. and then I go ahead and top stitch that. For the top of the skirt, it is going to be a gathered skirt, so here I'm just running a needle through loosely and gathering up the waist. For the sleeves, I take my fabric I cut for the cuffs and I am doubling it up and adding this white lace to it. Next is I grab my sleeve pattern and I will attach this white cuff to the bottom of the sleeve. And that will also get a top stitch. And the bodice is just a simple bodice with 2 back panels and 1 front panel. So I just sew the shoulder seams together. And once those are done, I go ahead and take my little patch that goes right in the arm sleeve, and I will attach that before I attach the sleeves. And once that's on, I go ahead and gather up the top portion of the sleeve because it's a poofy sleeve, and then I will attach that to the bodice. Now, since this is supposed to be a poofy gathered sleeve, I will take a piece of elastic and I will insert it into the white cuff. And then I will tack each end of the elastic to the edge of the white cuff. and add more patches. And now with all that done, I'm going to go ahead and sew up these side seams. For the collar, it's what I would call a high-necked Peter Pan collar. I just couldn't figure out how to make it, so I probably made it the hardest way possible. So once I had my bodice done, I put it on my mannequin and I draped it that way. So each side of the collar is 4 pieces, and I bet you there was a better way of doing this, I just couldn't figure it out. Anyways, once I got my pieces cut out of the white material, I go ahead and copy one side of it in some interfacing to give it some stability. Anyways, since my collar is a high-necked Peter Pan collar, it's got a fold over on itself, so that's what was confusing me. So I made the high turtleneck part in one piece and the fold over in one piece, and I go ahead and sew the top and the bottom together. And with the lining done also, I go ahead and put those together, and I only sew on the 2 short sides and the top portion of the collar. Once those 3 sides are done, I go ahead and clip the corners and flip it right side out. And give it a good press. Once I get the good press on it, I go ahead and sew the bottom part of the collar together so it stacks as one, and then I will attach it to the dress. Off camera, I do tack the top portion of the collar down so that way it stays in place. With the bodice done, I go ahead and attach the skirt to the bottom of the bodice. For the waistband of the skirt, I take my long purple rectangle and sew up the top and the bottom of it and flip it right sides out. And I also give that a good press. To make the waistband sit where I want it, I go ahead and mark out with chalk on the bodice where I wanted the top portion to hit, and I will hand sew this all on off camera. With that, all I have to do is add a zipper and then the dress will be done. For Ragatha's button eye, I did 3D print an eye in some light blue filament. I will be attaching that to my face with some eyelash glue. The dress looks a little frumpy right now because my mannequin is actually smaller than I am. So it's a little bit big on her, but it shows the idea. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time. Bye!